As heavy tramway level, we've never had anything on this scale.
Given that they're treated like buses, as you say, rather than like trains, it's time though to change that and say, look, there are automatic braking mechanisms on trains, there are on the light rail system, for example, in the London Docklands. Wouldn't it be right to find a way of implementing them on trams too?
It's one of the issues that I raised yesterday when the Mayor of London and officials from Transport for London came down, but I think we need to see the results of the investigation, understand what happened in this particular circumstance before we make those decisions. But clearly it's one of the questions people are going to be asking, yes.
And who should do the asking? I mean, clearly the inquiry, the investigation will reveal what actually happened. But who do you think should take on the decision-making process about how to bring greater safety to the tram?
There's two investigations clearly going on at the moment. One is the criminal investigation being led by British Transport Police, and then the investigation by the Rail Accident Investigation Branch. But I think ultimately the policy decision, if that's what you're asking me, lies with the Mayor of London, with Transport for London. They ultimately commission this service, but clearly Croydon councillors, local MPs and like myself are going to want to have an input into that debate.
And I know that many people in the area, you know people who were caught up in that crash.
I do. Well, I'm not just the MP for Croydon Central. I've lived there all my life. I obviously know people in the community. A friend was on that tram, so it brought home very sharply what happened. But I just want to take a moment also, if I may, just to say a profound thank you to the staff from our incredible emergency services and our local NHS hospitals for the work that they did yesterday in very, very difficult circumstances, because I think the loss of life would have been greater still had it not been for their professionalism.
MP for Croydon Central, thank you very much.
28 minutes past 8, we turn to the sport with Justin. Thanks. So again, well, Joe wrote yesterday, 2 more England century makers today.
Shami again, hamstring restored. He's there now, and he bowls to Bowen. He fends a short ball into the offside. Stokes a little slow setting off, but there's Bowen's 100. Here's to David bowling to Stokes, who leans back and hits him through the offside. That'll be it. Stokes' 4th Test century. He's a fine batsman. Forget the all-rounder bit. There's bound to bat.
Ali made 117. Ben Stokes is still there, leading something of a child life. It's given him a substantial platform on his second day of the first Test. And Test match special commentator Prakesh Vatanka is on the line. Prakesh, England now past 500. Another frustrating day for the leading captain Virat Kohli.
Well, it certainly has been, and he's got some of his own teammates to blame. They've dropped catches today. Our fielding hasn't been anywhere near the standards they've set for themselves. I have to say, England have batted brilliant.
You've heard that comment from Jonathan Nagle about all-rounders, especially as it related to Ben Stokes. Also applies to Moeen Ali. They are all-rounders, but they do have to make the side as batsmen alone, I think.
Indeed, and this is the Test match where I think there's just one player on both sides who hasn't got first-class 100. So it is. There's lots of all-rounders, lots of good simplicious players, and England certainly are in absolute control.
So the Indian spin bowling attack, therefore, has failed to make its expected impact. Maybe the groundsman has some questions to consider.
Well, but you want a good Test wicket. Look, this is the first Test match ever to be played in Rajkot. I'm sure everyone wants it to go the full 5 days or close to it anyway. And get a fair pitch, not something that becomes a minefield on day one. Then it's lopsided, isn't it?
How do you assess the captaincy of Virat Kohli? Does he really be powerless, do you think, in the face of this aggressive batting?
I wouldn't say that. I think, look, to be honest, this is really the first time that Virat and his teammates have been under this kind of pressure. You see, he's had things going his way. His spinners have sort of woven a web around the opposition batsmen. Really, the quality wasn't that good of the opposition either, relative to this side. But I think he's marshaled his resources as well as he could. Look, 7 catches by my count have gone down, and there's not a lot the individual can do as captain if the field isn't supporting the bowlers.
So England currently 516 for 8, batting well. They'll already be happy.
Time saver travel.
Jog a line in front of the screen around the headings around last hour.
Thank you, Howard. One would expect some delays, as we well know, at this stage around the Headington roundabout this morning. Traffic lights have gone on all sides, so please do approach with caution and care. We've got a pretty lengthy queue coming in now from the A40 London Road, coming in from Wheatley to Thornhill Park and Ride, but more so along the A420 London Road into Headington itself. I think the best part of 20 minutes to get out to the Headley Way Junction. Very, very slow moving there, but just please do take extra care. We'll let you know as soon as that engineer has completed his works and those lights are back on. Now, elsewhere, A34 southbound, very, very patchy this morning from Islip down to Pear Tree, and then further southbound from Pear Tree all the way pretty much down to Hinksey Hill interchange. Actually, very stop-starty there. Northbound, usual way to traffic as well, approaching from Abingdon North up to Hinksey Hill. And just looking in and around that area on the cameras on the A423 Southern Bypass, a lot of traffic travelling down from Hinksey to Kennington, but also from Hayford Hill this morning down to the Kennington roundabout. Very, very weighty on that side, and also from the A4 and A3, taking the best part of 10 minutes to come down from Boars Hill to the Hinksey Hill interchange. A40 taking the best part of 15 minutes now from Cassington to the traffic lights at Wolverton, and the city centre looking very, very slow on all the inbound cameras, particularly on the Woodstock and Banbury roads. Got a very slow moving queue coming up along Marsh Lane as well, and the Botley Road is very, very busy on our Seacourt camera. Elsewhere around the county, A420 still looking quite patchy up in Kingston, Bagpues and Fifield. A338 and the A415 both queuing to the lights at Fulford around there, and Abingdon very, very busy this morning in Abingdon on all approaches, particularly along Oak Street and from the Vineyard down that side. Clifton Hamlin, usual busy traffic too in both directions through the traffic lights at Clifton Hamlin on that side of the county as well. Live from the Oxfordshire Traffic Control Centre, I'm Ryan.
Call with your travel news. 03459.
Big painting is mostly sky and sea, yet it brings us a vision of almost mythic glory and a crucial change in social history as the Temeraire is taken to its graveyard by a tug-powered boat by steam. That's the life of Temeraire by turning discussed by Super Foster, David Bernard and James David. It's supposed to be the most valued, important, celebrated painting by the British people.
Thanks, Melvin. Look at the weather. It is going to be sunny, and there are going to be showers as well. And there will be frost for some. I wouldn't say who, but for some.
You're listening to Today on Radio 4, Justin Weather, Nick Robinson, at 27 minutes to 9. Seb Soames has a summary of the news.
Donald Trump will hold talks with President Obama today at the White House to discuss the transition of power before the takes office in January. Senior figures in Mr. Trump's party are rallying behind the president-elect. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said he wanted to work with Mr. Trump to scrap the health insurance program Obamacare. Thousands of people opposed to Mr. Trump have held rallies in US cities. Investigations are trying to find out why a tram derailed in Croydon in South London yesterday, killing 7 people. Police are considering whether the driver who's been arrested fell asleep or blacked out. One of 2 men who escaped from Pentonville Prison in North London on Monday has been found 11 miles away in Ilford. Matthew Baker had been serving a sentence for attempted murder. Police are still searching for James Whitlock. A British financial trader has admitted in a US court to helping trigger a multi-billion-pound fall in the value of shares on Wall Street. The judge told Navinder Singh Sarau he faces up to 30 years in jail.
Thank you very much, Ian. It's 26 minutes to 9. It is a global wake-up call, an unmistakable rejection of a political establishment and an economic system that simply isn't working for most people. A rejection of a failed economic consensus and a governing elite. All of those are the words not of Donald Trump, not of one of his cheerleaders, but of the Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. The world now debates what can be learned from Donald J. Trump's victory. We'll speak to one of his closest allies in just a moment. First though, let's hear from the feminist writer and campaigner Naomi Wolf, who worked on Bill Clinton and Al Gore's presidential campaigns. What does she say to those who argue that America was simply not ready for a female president?
Respectfully, I think these are kind of reductive questions, because I keep getting queries like this from various European and British newspapers, like, was it that America wasn't ready for a woman? I have noticed over my long career that any big historical event is always ready to be interpreted as women not being ready for prime time or prime time not being ready for women. That's not the case here. It's a wrong question. First of all, half of America voted for her. Most of America voted for her. She won the popular vote. We have a weird electoral college system, so she didn't win the presidency. So that's pretty historic. And second, she wasn't the ideal candidate. There are any number of women who would have done a better job connecting with the electorate. To me, this isn't a gender defeat at all. It's not about left and right anymore. It's about globalization and elites versus everybody else. And Mrs. Clinton, yes, she's a very accomplished woman in a lot of ways, but she, at this point in her life and career, she is the creature of Wall Street. She's the, creature of Goldman Sachs. She is deeply dedicated to a globalization agenda that more and more people, including British people who voted for Brexit, aren't on board for. The other thing that I do want to say is that the way she talked about gender was tone deaf, even in her last speech speech. I mean, people in America right now have such terrible problems. I can't stress this enough. Our climate is, deteriorating. There is no middle class, increasing